So for cleaning up the spinner here, all I'm going to use is... The only bad part about having a crafty family is your Dremel seems to disappear a lot. I'm going to be using my Mastercraft belt disc sander here. Just getting rid of the tabs on the spinner. And then I'll go ahead and just touch it up with sandpaper. Okay, so now that I have that all done here, all I'm going to do is I'm just going to go around it with a file and just clean up a little bit more and into the spots that I couldn't get. I did print this to have ridges on it. I'm now wishing I took those off. I'm finding it to be a pain in the butt. I'm going to go over it with some 120 grit and then some 220 grit sandpaper, and then I'll get it stained up here just to fine tune it. So anyways, I'll save you the boring sanding part here, and then we'll get back onto the other bench here and we'll get it finished up. Okay, so now I'm just going to cut this guy in half, and then I'm going to sand it down. Okay, so I'm just using my little vise here. Not worried about them being the same size at this point. I'm just worried about getting it in half, and then I can sand down the one side to match up the other one afterwards. And then... There we go. Now we've got the two caps. So now I just got to sand the one down so it'll match up with that one there. And I'm going to have it a little bit rounded on the bottom here, so when it sits into the bearing, it's not going to pressure down on the inside of the bearing, so that way it's got a nice smooth spin to it. Not the best bearings, but once again, I'm just doing this just to play around with. Nothing more. A piece of doweling I made prior that I'm just going to use to be able to hold down a little bit and be able to sand it down here. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, well I might have messed it up, but for now anyways, it's just gonna have to do. I got my stain, I got my gloves, a little rag. I cleaned up the spinner cap here and cleaned up the spinner a little bit more as well. I kind of messed up on it. Didn't round the top properly to fit in, but they'll still fit in. They just won't look so good from the top. Not the end of the world. So for this one, I'm going to use a black cherry stain. this guy stained up. I have this little piece of scrap wood. I'll be putting them on afterwards once I stain them, so that way they can dry on there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first do the spinner itself, and then I'll go ahead and do the cap here. Ultimately, you don't need a cap, but it's nice if you do. I think this stuff takes about an hour to dry before you can put a clear coat on it. So once it's all dry, I'll go ahead and get that on there. Okay, one down. We'll get these guys done now. Basically, you just want to rub it in until it actually soaks in there. There's nothing left on the top, really. That way it'll dry a lot quicker and look a lot better. And you can always take it over to a dry spot on your rag. We'll put this doweling or center pin here. I want to use as minimal as I can on it, on the center part, because I don't want that swelling up any more than it is. And there we go. Just going to do a quick double check here. I think that grain and with that knot in there, I think that looks pretty cool. Anyways, that's the spinner. We'll let it dry. Get it clear coated. This one I will be using this Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Clear Gloss. So for the most part, the clear coat is now dry on it. Looks pretty good. Just get a little bit of glue on the inside of each of the bearing holes. Yeah, it might not look pretty, but once the glue dries, I'm going to go ahead and touch it up with a little bit more clear coat. So far it looks pretty decent. My piece of wood here. That way the bearings are nice and flush. And come back in a while, finish up the rest on it. I made it just from purely stuff that I have lying around. And ultimately you could use a bunch of different things to be able to cut out your pattern. You don't have to use a CNC machine. I just got bored, thought it'd be cool to be able to do that. I'm going to post all the files below as well, so if you have a CNC machine and you're running VCarve, the files are there. Or if you have a 3D printer and want to print out this spinner, I'll have a link to the Thingiverse file for you as well. So that way, if you want to do laser, 3D print, or CNC, you have all those files there available to you. I'll be back in a little bit here, and I'm going to just do a little bit more on this, get it cleaned up, and we'll see how we're doing. Complete. I'm not too happy with the caps, but for what it is, it's not that bad. And just for messing about, it's pretty good. Something for the kids, so sure it'll get its use. I think I've been playing it with it for the last hour and a half. So thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and have a good day.